Imagine a race driver who walks into the most competitive motorsport series in America, a series where legends have spent decades building their careers, and on his very first start, he wins. Not just wins, he dominates. He crosses the finish line while veterans are still trying to figure out what just happened. Now imagine that same driver doing it again and again, turning every road course into his personal backyard, making NASCAR's best look like they are still learning how to drive. That driver is Shane van Gisbergen. And right now, as the NASCAR Cup Series points its wheels toward Watkins Glen International, the entire paddock is asking the same question. Is there anyone alive who can stop this man? Shane van Gisbergen was born on May 9, 1989 in Auckland, New Zealand, a country of 4 million people that somehow keeps producing motorsport talent capable of shaking up the biggest stages in the world. Before he ever touched an American racetrack, SVG had already built a legacy that most drivers only dream about. He won 3 championships in Australia's Supercars series, which is one of the most physically and mentally demanding tin-top racing categories on the planet. He stood on the podium at the 24 Hours of Daytona. He won the Bathurst 12-hour. In Australia, his name was spoken with the same kind of reverence that Americans reserve for their NASCAR icons. But then, Trackhouse Racing made a phone call. They had a program called Project 91, designed to bring world-class international talent into NASCAR, and they wanted Shane van Gisbergen. What happened next was one of the most remarkable stories in the history of American motorsport. In 2023, NASCAR came to Chicago for the very first time. The city's streets were transformed into a race circuit, and the entire sports world was watching. It was supposed to be an exciting novelty. A street race in the heart of America's third largest city. What nobody expected was that a driver making his NASCAR debut, a man who had never competed in a full Cup Series season, would come in and absolutely own the event from start to finish. Shane van Gisbergen won that race. Not narrowly, not controversially, he won it convincingly. And in doing so, he sent a shockwave through the NASCAR community. Veterans who had been chasing wins for years watched a newcomer from New Zealand make it look effortless. The fans went crazy, the analysts scrambled, and SVG, cool as ever, acted like this was simply what he was meant to do. Here's the thing about NASCAR that casual fans sometimes miss. Not all racetracks are the same. The vast majority of NASCAR races happen on oval tracks, circuits where you turn left and you keep turning left. But scattered across the schedule are road courses, circuits with left turns and right turns, elevation changes, technical braking zones, and the kind of complex layout that demands a completely different skill set. For most NASCAR drivers, ovals are their home and road courses are the challenge. For Shane van Gisbergen, road courses are where he transforms from a good driver into something almost supernatural. His background in Australian supercars and international motorsport gave him thousands of hours of experience on exactly these kinds of tracks. His instinct for late braking, his throttle control, his ability to find grip where others find nothing, all of it is shaped by a career spent mastering the kind of circuits that NASCAR's road courses most closely resemble. When SVG arrives at a road course, he is not adapting. He is arriving home. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season was Shane van Gisbergen's first full season as a Cup Series rookie, and what he did was simply historic. He won in Mexico City at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez, becoming the winner of NASCAR's first ever race at that legendary venue. He swept the Chicago Street Race weekend, winning both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series race from the pole on the same weekend, making him one of only 2 drivers in history to achieve that particular double. He won at Sonoma, he won at Watkins Glen, he won at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, making it 5 consecutive road course victories and cementing his place in NASCAR record books alongside one of the all-time legends of the sport. At the end of the season, despite being 36 years old and technically a first-year competitor, he was awarded the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year, a title earned through dominance that no rookie before him had ever shown. Watkins Glen International sits in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York, and it is one of the most storied road courses in all of American motorsport. The circuit first hosted NASCAR back in 1957, and it has been a permanent fixture on the Cup Series schedule since 1986. Over the decades, drivers like Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Kyle Larson have built legacies on this track. The layout is demanding. 11 turns, a mix of fast sweeping corners and tight technical sections, and a surface that rewards precision over aggression. It is the kind of track that separates drivers who are merely fast from drivers who truly understand how to read and feel a circuit. In 2024, SVG came agonizingly close to winning here, leading a race-high 38 laps before being passed in the closing stages by Chris Buescher in what many called one of the best finishes of that entire season. He finished runner-up. If you know anything about competitive sports, you know that a near miss like that does not leave a driver feeling satisfied. It leaves them hungry. When the betting markets opened for the 2025 Go Bowling at the Glen, the numbers told a very clear story. Shane van Gisbergen was listed as the heavy favorite, with odds sitting between -145 and -150 at major sportsbooks, meaning the market believed his chances of winning were so strong that you had to bet more than your potential profit just to back him. In a sport where 35 or more drivers are competing and where anything can happen on any given lap, those kinds of odds are extraordinary. The next closest competitor, Connor Zilisch, a young Trackhouse Racing prospect with genuine road course talent, was listed at more than 3 times SVG's odds. William Byron, a multiple race winner in 2025, was even further back. The market was not being subtle. It was saying plainly and loudly that this is SVG's race to lose. And when you look at everything he has done on road courses in his NASCAR career, 6 wins, 5 consecutive, a win streak that places him alongside Jeff Gordon in the history books, it is very hard to argue with that assessment. To be fair to the sport, there are drivers capable of giving SVG a genuine fight at Watkins Glen. Kyle Larson, one of the most talented all-around drivers in the series, is a 2-time winner at the Glen and carries the knowledge and confidence of someone who has conquered this track before. Chase Elliott, historically one of NASCAR's very best road course racers, is always a threat when the circuit has corners in both directions. Ryan Blaney, who actually out-qualified SVG for pole position by less than 0.03 of a second, showed that his pace was legitimate. And then there is Connor Zilisch, the young prospect who was briefly seen as the second biggest threat before suffering a broken collarbone in a victory lane fall at the Xfinity Series race the day before. His absence, or limited capacity if he chose to race through injury, removed one of the most credible challengers from the equation, widening the gap between SVG and the rest of the field even further. The competition exists, but the mountain these drivers must climb to beat Van Gisbergen on a road course is genuinely steep. In just 2.5 years of NASCAR Cup Series competition, Shane van Gisbergen has forced a conversation that no one anticipated having so soon. Where does he rank among the greatest road course racers in NASCAR history? The names you must consider are serious names. Jeff Gordon, who won 6 consecutive road course races between 1997 and 2000, still holds the all-time record for consecutive wins on this kind of circuit. With 5 straight, SVG is 1 win away from tying that mark. Tony Stewart was a road course master. Mark Martin was brilliant at the Glen specifically. But what makes SVG's story unique is the context. He is doing this as a relative newcomer to the series, an equipment that, while competitive, is not always the dominant machinery in the field. His wins come from skill, from experience, from a level of road course intuition that seems almost unfair compared to drivers who have spent entire careers mastering only ovals. The analysts who call him the strongest road course driver in NASCAR right now are not exaggerating. They are stating the most obvious thing in motorsport. As the cars roll onto the Watkins Glen circuit for the 2025 Go Bowling at the Glen, the race script writes itself almost too neatly. Shane van Gisbergen qualified from the front row. He knows this track deeply from last year's near victory, where he led more laps than anyone else. He is in arguably his best form ever, carrying momentum from multiple wins earlier in this season. His Trackhouse Racing team has shown the ability to execute flawless pit strategy on road courses, giving him clean air and position when it matters most. On paper and practice, and according to every odds board from every major sportsbook, the result everyone expects is SVG in victory lane. But this is motorsport. Mechanical failures happen. Strategy calls go wrong. A safety car comes out at the wrong moment. A tire goes down. A competitor has the race of their life. NASCAR has given fans too many moments of shock and surprise to ever call a race truly certain. That tension, the gap between probability and possibility, is exactly what makes the race worth watching. Shane van Gisbergen came to America from the other side of the world, carrying a reputation built in a series most American fans had never watched, on tracks most American fans had never seen. He was an outsider, a curiosity, an experiment. And then he started winning. He kept winning. He turned road courses into a stage where he performs at a level that other drivers spend their whole careers trying to reach, and he did it in a sport where the oval is king and the road course is supposed to be a difficult guest on the schedule. As Watkins Glen approaches, as the odds boards point overwhelmingly in one direction, as analysts and fans and competitors all say the same name when you ask who is going to win, the real story is not just about one race, it is about a driver who showed up, rewrote what was possible, and is now in the process of building a legacy that will be talked about long after the checkered flag falls on this particular Sunday afternoon in upstate New York. The only question that remains is this: can anyone anywhere, on any road course in America, finally find a way to stop him?